Yeah, so California is typically the place that leads for clean emission, zero emission mandates, and so after passing the one for passenger vehicles, now their next step or the next target is commercial vehicles, which I guess kind of makes sense. I mean, it would be nice to finally start broadening our efforts to transportation, especially now where we're at the point where we can start tackling bigger vehicles, heavier vehicles like the commercial vehicles, and trying to move them towards a cleaner, greener fleet. So the California mandate is that for commercial trucks, and it looks like it includes the 18-wheelers. They will have to start, or I guess the fleets will have to start electrifying. No, I think it's actually pure electric. It actually has to be pure electric.
Zero emissions.
Thank you. Yeah. By 2024, and hopefully transition the entire fleet by 2045. So the idea is that starting in 2030, so about 6 years in, they'll have about 100,000 zero emission trucks. And then the next target will be 300,000 by 2035, and of course, all of it by 2045. So I guess that's basically their target, and they're hoping to save, I guess the National Resources Defense Council said that this mandate will lead to about $8.9 million in health savings between 2020 and 2040. So that's just not having to breathe in all that pollutants from diesel emissions that these trucks produce. And we know, most of our goods, I guess, come by trucks, right? It's just the cheapest option. Once they arrive at the port in Los Angeles, they get trucked up to, the rest of the country. So at least, I guess within California, say, to start with, in terms of range, I'm thinking range. At least that will help clean up the local emissions.
Yeah, so, from the story. I'm sorry, John. From the story, there's one really strong paragraph that explains why this should be a priority and why it is. Quote from Stephen Edelstein's Green Car Report story: "Trucks are the largest single source of vehicular air pollution," CARB said in a press release Thursday. "They account for 70% of the pollution and 80% of diesel soot, despite numbering 2 million of the roughly 30 million vehicles registered in California." They go on to say, and I'm not quoting that paragraph, but they go on to say a lot of these also adversely and disproportionately affect minority and low-income communities because they're the ones that tend to be clustered around ports, rail yards, distribution centers, freight corridors. So it not only they not only have an outsized footprint in pollution, they disproportionately affect some of our most sensitive communities the worst. So this is a great move.
Yeah, I was going to bring that point up.
Yeah. 70 to 80%. I mean, that's like, oh my God, that is huge. I'm surprised the health savings is only like 9 million over 20 years.
No, I mean, only 20 years and 1,000 premature deaths, but that can be avoided.
They're not just the deaths, so there's also the chronic conditions like asthma and high blood pressure, heart conditions.
Right.
I mean, let's be blunt here. The comorbidities of those conditions are what's killing largely minority populations most from COVID. Right. So this reduction is very good news, and it's part of the perceiving the concept of environmental justice as a social justice issue.
Very true.
You guys,
very much.
You remember a story we did? I think it was last year or maybe the year before. I think it was Mark's story, if I remember correctly, about the electric, the dock trucks that they had, instead of just having. Say what?
Yeah. In Long Beach, you're talking about?
Yep.
That sounds right.
Yeah. It was in Long Beach. Yeah. I mean, that's a great first step of moving things around in that enclosed area without having to just sit there and burn diesel the whole time. Now we're taking it to the next step and broaden it out as they're moving around.
Yeah. Right, and the ship's running on shore power too, instead of sitting there burning their diesel.
Their diesel engines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their fuel oil.
Super good. Super
some
important.
European centers have electric delivery vans. So, I don't know if this mandate covers those smaller commercial vehicles.
It started with Class 2A up to Class 8, and the smaller delivery vehicles, I think, are targeted first. And that makes sense, because those are the ones driving around in the populated areas the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they're parked overnight usually, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right, so they can charge up, right?
Yeah.
And the fleet managers are going to love this. Yeah, you pay a little more up front, but your maintenance goes down, your fuel costs become stable, especially if you already have a solar array at your facility.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and for the automakers, okay, so this establishes a market. California is a huge place. A lot of vehicles sold there. There's going to be a market for these because it's mandated. And if you're early and you're selling these vehicles and then some competitors not, they're going to have to buy CARB credits from you. So you get to sell more vehicles and you get money from your competition. If you're a smart business manager, you're going to be jumping on this.
Well, Elon's already on his way.
Well, there's him, but not just him. Like we've seen eight different prototypes in production ready, whether or not they're actually in production.
Yeah, if you make some sort of Sprinter van or whatever, start making an electric version of it and start road testing it now, figure out all the kinks, be ready by this 2024 date when it starts so you can be high volume by 2030.
Mm-hmm. Ford claims they're working on electric transit. There's a whole bunch of things that they could do.
The change van, that one's pretty cool. It's a big-ass van.
Nissan has the ENV.
Yeah. Well, they did to bring it here first, but yeah.
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 Toyota has the highest, the electric highest.
Ime.